What's up guys, welcome back to another 2GR MR2 progress video. This video I'm just going to be tackling random things around the car, stuff like cleaning out my def tank, maybe cleaning up the 3D scanning baby powder, but mainly just the wiring and getting the motor in. My trunk wiring over the couple previous swaps has now become an absolute mess, so I really want to try and tidy that up. I've been really wanting to remake this body harness and trunk section for a while now. I have it running through the side vent here and into the trunk for like a tucked look. Usually ends up in like the engine bay. You can see here it's just like an absolute mess, so I cut it all out and yoinked it on out. And here's the stock body harness. You can see at the bottom there, it's just all like mangled and gross looking. So I first started with drawing out a road map of the stock harness, just grabbing measurements of every branch, marking out where the branches are and stuff like that. The new harness is actually a fully concentric harness, and I'm skipping over a ton of the steps here, since a lot of it's just like boring planning stuff. I have another video where I touch more on the concentric harness process in my 2AR series if you want to hear more about that. After I got all my measurements, I got to fabricating. I didn't film a lot of footage of the harness building process. It's just a lot of like twisting and wrapping and stuff. But here's a sort of final product. I absolutely love how this harness turned out. I love all like the colors and all the like the twisty look and all that stuff. I think it looked really cool. But that's all the footage I have for the wiring. But here's a picture of the final product compared to the original stock harness. I think it looks pretty good. I saved, I think, about like half a pound or something on top of the stock harness, which is nice. But now it's time to go put the motor in. Putting the motor in isn't anything super special. I've done this arguably way too many times now. I just lift up the rear of the car, slide the motor in from under. It helps if you have a good dolly, but mine broke under the weight of the 2GR and the U151, so it was kind of a struggle, but I worked it out. After that, I just lowered the car back down, carefully, keeping in mind where the chassis is, where the motor is, you know, making sure they don't hit each other on the way down. Then, I lifted the 2GR up and into position. I like to use 3 ratchet straps instead of like fixed slings or chains. The straps help quite a bit in leveling out the motor on the way up. Here it is with one motor mount in. Because of the U151, I had to make a custom driver's side mount, but I just welded the S54 rubber isolator onto a metal plate. It was nothing super fancy or anything. Ah, fuck. It was still hot. Here it is with 2 mounts. Rocks nicely back and forth. And here it is with all 4 mounts in. I had to sort of modify my front and rear brackets to fit onto the U151, but the mounting stuff wasn't too bad. And that's all the footage I have for now. I did clean out my def bottle. I did clean up some of the baby powder, so those 2 things have been done. Not sure what the next video is going to be, but there's another thing I would like to touch on, is that I'm working on a gauge cluster swap. This is sort of like a side quest. However, I do need to convert the car to electronic speedo, and I'm not too big of a fan of like how the MR2 cluster looks. So I'm doing this gauge cluster swap in conjunction with a electronic speedo swap. I have to go to electronic speedo because the U151 does not have a speedo like mechanical drive ring in it. Not sure how this is going to turn out, but I'm liking it so far. So yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video thing.